Hey bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do the other half of the things that I read in January. In case you missed my last video, I have decided recently to break up my wrap-ups into part 1 and part 2 during the month. Not because I read a whole lot, but just because I want to keep my videos short and I want to be able to say more about the books that I read than I have been able to in my wrap-ups just because the videos get so long. So I only have 2 books to talk about in this part 2 of my wrap-up. I was kind of in a reading slump in the month of January. I think just kind of being burnt out from the craziness of the holidays, and I also got really sick when I got back from visiting my family. I just caught a really nasty cold. I was sick for like almost 2 weeks. I was just really behind on everything and I just wasn't very motivated to read for most of the month of January. So if you saw my last video, I did read The Raven Boys in the first half of January. I'll link that video in case you want to see what I had to say about it. So after reading The Raven Boys and the 2 novellas that I also previously talked about in my last video, I picked up Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I was really excited to read this book. I'd heard such good things. This book has been getting a lot of hype. Illuminae is a science fiction book set in space. It is the first book to a series. Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff wrote it together, and it is the first book of either of theirs that I have read. This main story of this book is about this boy and girl who were dating and they break up at the very beginning of the book. Basically, the world as they know it ends as their planet gets attacked and they get separated. And so it's a little bit of a love story, but also like a survival story in space. The best part about this book is the way that it's written. So it's not a regular type of narrative. It's told more from like emails and security footage, IM messages. It's like you're looking through a case file that describes all the things that happen. Some parts of it are even from the point of an AI, which was really cool. Unfortunately, I think the hype kind of ruined this book for me. Not that I hated it by any means. I had a lot of fun reading it. It was a solid 4-star read for me. It just didn't wow me as much as I had hoped it would, and I think there were a few things that I knew about it going in that I wish I hadn't known, just because I like to be surprised by books, and one of the blurbs on the cover kind of ruined something for me that I think I would have really enjoyed discovering for myself. I'm not going to say what it was because I don't want to ruin it for anybody else, but I mean, if you just read the different blurbs on it, then you'll read what I read and then you'll know maybe what I'm talking about. I don't know, maybe I'm being too vague. I think the biggest downside to this book for me was the relationship between the 2 main characters. I just didn't really buy the relationship. I just had a really hard time connecting with the 2 characters. Their flirting over instant messaging just really got on my nerves. It was too angsty for me and I didn't like that part of it. The other thing is that I saw some of the plot twists coming. Some of them I didn't, and so I am definitely going to continue the series because we find out a few things at the end of the book that I thought were really interesting and I want to see where the series goes from there. But there were a few things that I kind of suspected, and so they weren't as surprising to me as they might have been for other people. So yeah, overall I enjoyed it. The downsides for me were that it was a little angsty and it was a little predictable, but there were still things that I didn't predict, and I still had a lot of fun reading it, and I'm definitely going to continue the series. So solid 4 out of 5 stars for me. And then the next book that I'm going to talk about is definitely my favorite read of January. I had so much fun reading this, and I think this book got me out of my reading slump, or at least it helped me get out of my reading slump a lot because I adore this book. And that book is 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. As you guys know, I've been reading a lot of Leigh Bardugo lately. I finished her Grisha series last month. I read a couple more novellas from the Grisha world earlier this month. So when I decided I was ready to pick this one up, I let my friend Emily from Emily Reads Everything know, and she and I buddy read this. We loved this book so much. As much as we both loved and adored the Grisha series, I think this one was even better for us. You get to explore a different part of the Grisha universe that you don't really see that much of in the Grisha trilogy. And of course, Leigh Bardugo's writing style completely drew me into the story from the very beginning, just like it always has. For those of you who haven't heard, 6 of Crows Crows is a heist story, and it has 6 different characters, which is why it's called Six of Crows, and they plan this heist together. I haven't read very many heist stories before, and I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this. I guess I never realized how much fun a heist story could be, but if you've seen Ocean's 11, it's kind of like that. What I really enjoyed and what kind of kept me on my toes is that you as the reader are not privy to all of the plans from the very beginning. So when something goes wrong during the heist, you don't know if it's actually going wrong or if it was planned that way. And so that was like really exciting to see the plan of the heist kind of unfold as you go along. And then of course some things don't go as planned, and you know, you see the characters improvise and make new plans, and it was just really exciting. The whole time I was on the edge of my seat wanting to know what happened. But to be honest with you, the best part of this book were all of the characters. You get to see from 5 of the 6 different perspectives, and these characters are all so unique. I was never confused about whose point of view I was reading. They're all such different characters, and the story, even though is pretty plot driven, it's also pretty character driven. You get a lot of backstory on the different characters, and that was one of my favorite parts of this book because these characters are just so unique and interesting, and I can honestly say that I love all of them. You know, a lot of people have favorites or favorite couples out of the 6 characters, and I honestly can't pick a favorite. Like, I love them all. They're all so cool and unique and interesting. I keep using the same words over and over, but I love them all. I can't pick a favorite out of them. The characters are definitely the highlight of this book, but the plot comes in at a close second because it was just really exciting, and I couldn't put it down. So if you can't tell, I gave Six of Crows 5 out of 5 stars. It is definitely my favorite book of the month, although I really enjoyed The Raven Boys, and that's probably my second favorite of the month. I highly recommend you read Six of Crows. I think you should read the Grisha series first. I know a lot of people say you don't have to, and I guess you don't have to, but if you plan on ever reading the Grisha trilogy, I think you should read that first, because I think that there are spoilers for the Grisha trilogy in Six of Crows because it does take place after the Grisha trilogy ends. So that's my personal recommendation. I think you should read Grisha first because I really enjoyed it, and it gives you a nice introduction to the world, and Six of Crows really expands on that and gives you all these wonderful new characters. That being said, if you have no desire to really read the Grisha series, or if you tried it and you couldn't get into it and you don't want to try it again, then I don't think you have to read it to read Six of Crows. It does definitely stand on its own, but if you wanted to read Grisha at some point, you should read that first. So those are the only 2 books I'm going to talk about in this video. Like I said, I'm trying to keep them short while still saying a good amount about the books. Let me know down below if you think you like this format of my wrap-ups. I do want to keep them kind of monthly though. I know some people are doing 3 or 4 books at a time and not necessarily lining it up with the month. I personally want to keep it kind of monthly because I also do monthly wrap-ups on my blog. So that's all I have for now. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye! I'm really excited about the second book coming out. This is going to be a duology, so the next book is going to be the end of the story, and I mean, the way it ended, I was just kind of shocked that it ended there. I wasn't expecting it to end. I kept thinking, like, they only have a few more pages. How are they going to pull this off? And then I realized, oh yeah, that's going to happen in the next book. Duh, Jade.